stone.
What's going on, guys? Sorry we're a little late. It's 8:44, but it's all good. We've started later than this before, so... What's going on? It is episode 46? Jesus.
Something like that, yeah.
40 motherfucking 6, dude. Like, that is... Oof. That's a lot. That is a lot. Alright, so I have no idea what we're going to be talking about tonight, like usual. No idea. Let's just see where this goes. Fuck it!
I got a couple things.
Alright, go for it.
Well, first off, Count Dankula had his trial today, although apparently he was supposed to find out the verdict, but I guess it's being delayed again, is something I read. But the really funny part is one of the prosecutors for the Crown said that what he was trying to do was collaborate with his pug and use cuteness, or what was it? It was collaborate with his pug and using cuteness, like attempt to get to the point where people are getting gassed in stadiums. Like, seriously, this is what the lawyer for the prosecution actually said.
Gas stadiums? Really?
Who the hell's
Yeah, that was going to be that's their end game, was to get people, use cuteness and all that to get people into Nazism, and, eventually to the point where they're gassing whoever in stadiums or whatever like that. Yeah.
Who's Count Dankula, first off? I don't even know.
That's the YouTube guy that taught his girlfriend's pug to do the Nazi salute in Scotland and got arrested for it.
How the fuck do you teach a pug to do that?
Savage, right?
Like, that has got to be the most hilarious. 'Cause I love pugs, first off. Like, pugs to me are, like, so adorable. But, like, how the fuck do you get them to, like, get up on their hinds and start doing the salute, dude? Like, I don't even understand that.
It's because they're so ugly, they're cute. That's why pugs are cute to me, anyway.
Yeah. Lauren Southern was at the trial, and her and a few other people have said, according to the Crown, at Count Dankula TV is colluding with his pug to use adorableness to trick people into gassing football stadiums full of people.
What the fuck? Wow.
Is this even real life?
Well, I mean, on the bright side, most football stadiums have retractable roofs nowadays. So
Checkmate, Nazis.
It's not just for sunlight anymore.
Oh man, I'm telling you, the absurdity limit.
Let the gas out. I don't want to die today.
At least they could do it to the Dallas Cowboys or something. I mean, something like that, right, Rambo?
Got him.
I just that's a lawyer for the government, and that's the things they're saying. I can't even. Oh man.
Funny, though.
But yeah, that was some real Nazi Freudian slip right there. That's some real nonsense stuff. The other thing is some more clarification on the Meltdown and Spectre bugs, because apparently nobody can agree on actual what is going on. So there's the two bugs, Meltdown and Spectre. Meltdown affects ARM processors, so cell phones and tablets, and Intel processors. This one is easier to exploit, but it's also easier to fix. There are microcode and OS patches that they have done for it. The official ones for Windows are coming January 8th, but there were already ones. I said there weren't, the consumer patches weren't out and all that kind of stuff, but there actually was, because they had early versions for Linux and some other stuff, and that's what they were doing the tests for, that saw the decreases of up to 30% in performance.
Well, I hope everybody likes Cabby Lake and Sky Lake and
And then the other one is Spectre.
Spend your
And
money, assholes.
Spectre affects all AMD, or I don't want to say all, but most at least, AMD, ARM, and Intel CPUs. But it's a much harder exploit to use, though it's also harder to mitigate because there are no OS or microcode patches that can be used to fix it, although individual software can be patched, because what this one does, it's the meltdown bug is caused by what's called what's the word they use for it? It's speculative operations, or speculative speculative execution. And it's when modern CPUs will perform extra calculations or processes that they think might be needed in the near future, and any ones that aren't needed are just tossed. Well, apparently when that stuff is tossed or something about that, the exploit can be used to read that info, which can include, I mean, it's kernel memory, so it has everything from passwords to, it'll have like the codes that they use for for what is it when you security encode like files and stuff. Encryption thing, yeah. So like, the codes for your encryption, those, that'll be in your kernel memory, or passwords or stuff like that. And apparently these things, the exploit allows these to be read. So what they had to do was change the way that speculative execution is done. And apparently for the Intel, or some of them at least, that means a real big performance hit. But the official patches, the performance hit that they registered was on a Linux machine with the early access patch. So we don't know if the final patch will have any differences. And again, it was a Linux, not a Windows machine. And the tests that he ran, there wasn't any game decrease in performance, but the games he used didn't use DirectX. So in some combination of the being Linux, not Windows, and not using DirectX, that could mean different things for most other people not running Linux machines or something like that. But again, none of the patches that are out right now were official, and the actual released ones, so who knows?
How far back does the chipsets go that were affected?
It's the 90s. Everything since the 90s, and it's an architecture, yeah.
Since the 90s?
Oh yeah.
What the fuck?
Well,
They've been using this speculative execution for a long time. Yeah. So that's that bug. The Spectre bug, which affects all, although I do believe AMD says, or no, never mind. Excuse me, that's for Meltdown. The Spectre bug can affect all AMD, Intel, and ARM processors since around the 90s, but it's a much harder bug to do. And the way this bug works, the other one, it's that kernel memory, and it's everything or near everything. The Spectre bug, it only allows the hack to access arbitrary segments of memory in other programs. So you'll put an exploit into one program, and it will then go into the other program, and then it can access some of the memory, but it's arbitrary locations. It's not like they can access a specific one or anything like that. So not only is it less dangerous, but it's also much harder to get anything useful at all, let alone do anything, get any important information at all, as even just regular information. And they don't know because like I said, there are no microcode or OS or firmware or any kind of patches like that. Yeah. This one is a strictly architecture type bug, but I don't think that one's going to be a big deal. And now that they know about it, they can certainly start designing newer chips to, mitigate it or
Are they gonna give discounts?
Whatever.
I hope they give discounts to fucking people that spit.
I mean, if Intel processors, get a 20 or 30% decrease in performance. Yeah, that's.
I mean, I didn't mean that's it. I mean, they need Intel, especially since they've known about this, needs to sit there and be like, yo, all you guys that like are hardcore enthusiasts, you have to buy all the newest shit. Look, we'll make it up to you. Here you go. Because nobody spends $600 on a processor just
or let alone 1,300 or 1,500.
Exactly, just to have a 30% decrease. That's like $500 out of your wallet that they're saying, "Oops, I'm sorry." Like, fuck that, dude. They better make it right by the users, dude.
Yeah. And now I don't know if this is true, so I don't want to say that this did happen. We'll have to wait until more information comes out. But apparently, the CEO of Intel started dumping stock right before the article came out that exposed the bug.
Yeah, I heard about that. That was actually that broke really fast. In fact,
yep.
There was like 3 other sites that said something, and it was trending.
Yeah, like I said, I haven't seen actual proof, so I don't want to say that it's 100% true. But
right.
There's some good there. Lots of people have shown some fairly convincing evidence and all that kind of stuff. So, and I mean, it's not like it's going to be hard to tell. All somebody has to do is get a hold of the stock sales records.
I mean, even looking at Coffee Lake right now. Coffee Lake is right now at $250, marked down from $300.
Oh, and it is. There are lots of processes that don't. Now, again, this was the early version of the patch. It was on a Core i7-8700K, and it was on a Linux machine. But the things that got a big hit were stuff like FSMark 3.3, Compile Bench, and a couple of synthetic benchmarks.
Yeah.
PostgreSQL and Redis suffered a loss, but to a far lesser degree. But H.264 video encoding, timed Linux kernel compilation, and FFmpeg video conversion did not lose anything, along with the games. So it looks like there's a whole bunch of things that either don't get affected very much or not at all. And most of the stuff that's getting affected is things like synthetic benchmarks and stuff like that. So, like I said, none of this is final. The official patches aren't even out, and this was on a Linux machine, not a Windows machine. So we won't know what the actual performance hits will actually be. And so far, it looks like it's not anything ultra important. But, who knows, right?
Bruh.
So that was interesting.
Hey, you guys want to get into PC gaming?
AMD Master Race.
Okay, so and I was just gonna say, there are reasons, kind of like why I have a love-hate relationship with Nvidia and Intel. Like right now, this just gives me a whole other reason, like really shit on Intel sometimes. Like this reinforces that, right? And Nvidia's whole.
Well, you have an Intel processor. Did they know that?
Yeah, everybody knows I have an Intel. Yeah. I don't usually deal with Intel, but like this is.
I mean, I remember when
this is kind of making me like wonder if I should do that anymore. You know what I mean?
I remember when Nvidia was caught cheating on benchmarks when they first became a thing.
But it's not just that though. Like a lot of people overlook the fact that Nvidia is known for instilling their framework dev kit software into AMD licensed programs. So, like, say EA, like for instance, EA had all the major, gave all the major licensing to AMD for this generation. That was something that we covered last year in this podcast, and we were like, "Oh, that's pretty cool," Well, Nvidia goes in after them, after AMD leaves the building and says, "Hey, you guys, slide this shit in there. Slide this framework in there. Don't worry, it's not gonna fuck with anything." And then later, people were finding out that framework was clashing with AMD's fucking software, causing massive crashes in their games, causing performance hits and gaming, like all because Nvidia can't play well with others, So I mean, but now you have a possibility of a CEO of Intel dumping stocks just before the stories hit. I mean, it's just not looking good for Intel, and they've been trying to play nice with AMD lately. Same with Nvidia. Nvidia was like trying to water under the bridge. Let's bury the hatchet. Let's all play nice together. They even have a collaborative build together between Nvidia and AMD. So it's just what I think is weird now. Like finally everybody's playing nice, and now we have a CEO on the back end fucking everybody over. Like, oh, that's nice. Hey, that's great. Finally everybody like buried the hatchet, and now we're gonna go ahead and fuck everybody over. Oh, that's good. We can't bury our competition, so let's bury our customers. Or at least that's what it seems like to me. So
yeah, I've said a lot of times why I like AMD, and this is that's one of the reasons that AMD is not affected is because their architecture is different from Intel's.
Imagine what a AMD Ryzen chipset would look like in a new upcoming iOS. Like, just think about that, Pete. Like, you already know that if they do well with Xenon processing, right? They've been using Xenons for years now. They even go back as far as, I was just looking up on the chipsets on Amazon, the older chipsets like the 930s and stuff. They still use those. Like, they actually still use those in today's Apple builds. So imagine a fucking Ryzen build Apple product. That shit's gonna be snappy as fuck.
Although there is also that
they're like low end shit.
True, but there is that Intel CPU with the Vega GPU architecture combo thing that's coming out, and that looks really cool. The board for that thing is unbelievably tiny. I think it's even smaller than a micro ATX motherboard, and it's got the dies for the CPU and GPU with the HBM2 already there, like pre-put in, and 2 RAM slots with a couple of SATA things, an M.2 slot, and a bunch. Like you could build a full gangster computer with it, and the thing is smaller than it's practically the size of like a Xbox, board or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I could imagine all sorts of cool shit being created. I mean, it's like 2 or 3 Raspberry Pis put together, and you've got an Intel chip with the Vega GPU, 2 slots for RAM, and all the trimmings for all the cool stuff you could ever want.
Yeah. No, I'm good. I got this. Is dinner done?
I don't know. Jamie's still singing up there.
Oh. I've got my buddies. They're making dinner, and I guess they think they're vocalists. Yo, you ever want to hear a magical moment with spaghetti? Just come to my house. It's like they look like 2 inmates on a chain gang singing together. But I'm gonna look at their stocks. Actually, I'm glad you guys mentioned their stocks. I want to see how bad it is because
I heard it dropped at least like 3 or 4 or 5 points the day after.
It must.
So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Holy shit. So they lost 1.3 million at 9:45 a.m. today.
Whoa.
And then
That's a hell of a drop, yeah.
they built it back up to 450K at their highest peak, and then dropped it back down and lost half that. Their total metric volume right now is at 3.9 million between fluctuations of going up and down. So that is not good.
And unfortunately, it really isn't Intel's fault either. Because this, like the speculative execution, it's really no different than when AMD first changed the architecture when they first made their Athlon processors, when they split the core into 3, and each of the 3 cores was specialized in either floating point, decimal, or fractional calculations.
Yeah.
And they got a huge performance boost for that. That's why they named them like the 2800 plus, because at whatever it ran at, which for that one I think was something like 2.1 or 2.2, it would outperform a comparable Intel processor at 2.8.
Yeah.
And the whole reason for that was because of that little architecture change. And this is essentially no different than that. I mean, they're all just little tricks that they learn that improve performance. And, you know, certainly I don't think in 95 or, you know, whenever when they started it that they knew, and probably not for the next, you know, decade or even maybe even up till a couple of years ago, because, you know, you can never figure out all the problems that are going to come with any new system when you make it. So, I mean, I feel real bad for them, but it's just an unfortunate thing, and unfortunately they're handling it not right.
Bro, so AMD's surge was at 9:30 a.m. today, and it surged to 1.6 million.
Wow.
Like that was it's a 2% hike from their highest point.
What were they?
This is going to be a big thing for AMD.
By the end of the day, what were they?
Oh, by the end of the day, they stayed up and down, fluctuating between 2.1 million in total volume by 4 p.m. today.
So they're doing better than Intel.
They're actually doing better than Intel right now.
And this is coming at the right time too, because the whole point of like Vega was that they designed it to where the manufacturing for all of them was the same from the Frontier 56 and 64. So that way, the more people bought them, the cheaper they could make the manufacturing for all of them. And so if they get this huge influx of new cash right when they were doing, I mean, not like they were doing poorly, but they were scraping it pretty close.
AMD, let's be honest, AMD, like, they haven't done anything like this since like the mid 90s when it came to their shares, because that was right around the time that Intel and them had like they're falling out, like the business partners before they split up.
Yeah.
They
yeah, I think it was like
time,
it was either late 90s or early 2000s when they came out with their new design.
Days,
and
right?
yeah, the Athlon days.
Yeah.
That was the only thing that was actually putting Intel into the dirt, because at the time Intel had just brought out their Celeron chipset, and the Celeron chipset for what it was a beast. But when Athlon came out, that like just tanked everything that they put out. Like,
oh yeah, I mean they all outperformed Intel.
Yeah, up all the way up until when 1366 was released.
Yep.
Which was crazy because the tri-core that AMD had, was it the Kuma? I think is what it was called.
Turon, maybe.
They had a few.
Well,
I had an Athlon tri-core, but there were a couple different ones.
That thing alone, I remember that thing alone shitting on all
of
the Intel P4 line, because that's all they had. They had a P4 with hyper-threading.
Yeah.
Remember that? That was like technically their dual core.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it was just, I mean, they got shit on. And then as soon as 1366 launched, AMD's been irrelevant ever since. Like, no, they've been playing catch-up this whole time. They've been lagging behind the trail.
Speaking of tri-core, how retarded does that sound? 3 cores in like today's technology.
Yeah.
Like, they still sell dual cores. When's the last time anyone shopped for a tri-core?
Well, before they had 4 and 6 and 8 cores.
I did it for a client. I did it for a client because he didn't understand PCs at all. He only wanted a build that could cost him around $300.
Oh, well, that's
so I did a tri-core build for him, and then I just threw in a shitty 200 series Nvidia card, and that was what at the time when I bought it was like $30.
Or Rambo probably remembers this, like when everyone was hyped. Well, most YouTubers, most propaganda YouTubers, were hyped when the Nintendo Wii U was gonna have a tri-core processor. You guys remember that shit?
So yeah, I mean AMD is having a nice day. So I mean, look, I've always wanted AMD to come out, on top again, but not like this.
Yeah,
I mean, don't want them.
I'm happy for it, but yeah, I'm right there with you. It's a shame that this is the way it had to go.
Like you could see where at 9 this morning, the spike happened, and that's right around when it was trending this morning on Twitter.
Right.
It was about that CEO doing his shit.
Mm-hmm.
In that article, they state that around 9 o'clock this morning, all the major CEOs that were investing into them had actually dumped their stocks and went into AMD. That's why they had that huge spike.
Okay.
Ouch.
Ain't that some shit? Yeah, Rambo's here. He's just quiet.
He's muted, actually.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was making something in the microwave. So.
Oh yeah, he's making food.
How nice of you, Rambo. Look at this guy.
But yeah, I mean that's crazy. Like I said, I just wish AMD would have, they would have come out on top, like in a more positive manner, like not this bullshit of scandal, dude. I hate that shit more than anything. It's like it would be like Xbox getting a 1-up all of a sudden because something shitty at Sony happened and they let go of all their
they lost all their manufacturing plants and they weren't going to be able to make any.
Right.
Yeah.
I would seriously.
And it's not like it was like when Nvidia got caught cheating. It's not like it was something Intel purposefully did. It just happened to work out that what they did. Yeah.
So what else is there to talk about besides this?
See.
I guess I could look some stuff up while we're shooting the shit.
There was. Oh, go ahead, Rambo.
God of War. More information came out about that. It's got people questioning, like some people questioning it. I don't see the reason why.
Well, they took out the jump, right?
Yeah, but I mean, that's not going to be it's not going to be the same thing. It's not going to be the platforming hack and slash. So I think it's going to be more Last of Us, Uncharted, mainly the more of the Last of Us type gameplay, like gritty, down on the earth type thing. So, in fact, I mean, Cory Barlog, the guy that created God of War, went to Sony to pitch him an idea of another God of War, and Sony told him, as long as you don't make it like you did before. And so he had to come up with that. They were actually going to can God of War completely.
Oof.
Oh, they're going to can it?
Yeah, and so he had to he wanted to make a God of War game, so he had to find a different way, a different look, a different feel, a different everything.
I mean,
to get Sony to greenlight it.
To be fair, it is, that kind of game has been, I mean, how many different games are there now that follow that same model of...
Well, the thing is, though, is that like God of War 1, 2, and 3 were good. Ascension was terrible. I always look at Ascension as the Gears of War Judgment. The Judgment,
they
that one, like that.
They tried to implement that fucking multiplayer bullshit, and all my friends were like, "Oh man, it's actually pretty good," and I'm like, "Nah, I'm good."
Yeah, fuck no, it wasn't. Like, that was the fucking trash ass game. But if you look at the audience of God of War, it's a good seller, but it's not like a big seller. It's a reason. The core audience definitely will buy a PlayStation for the God of Wars.
Hey, Ryan.
Yeah. But it's not reaching out to like a big, broad audience. Right. And so I was kind of glad whenever they announced the new God of War. It's going to be in the big open world scene, and it's going to have kind of like the Last of Us feel type thing. I was really hyped about that. The whole no jump thing, I don't care. In a game like that, jump is not needed. In a shooter, yeah, I would say you need to jump because get out of the way a lot faster. Like I can't stand there's no jump button in Gears of War. That bothers the shit out of me. But in a single player story driven game, and you're on the ground, I mean, big deal. You can't jump off the ground and just land right back on the ground. I mean, it doesn't seem like a big deal to me. But I don't know when it comes to this. Like I'm more hyped for game than I ever have been for God of War game previous. Like this is, I went out and bought all the pop figures today.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely ready for God of War. This is one of this Infamous, Uncharted, and now The Last of Us is like my 4 favorite franchises from PlayStation.
Hey, so I just received this terrible news, Rambo. This affects you because of you, is why I love this show so much. But this was just posted an hour ago. Game of Thrones will not be coming out in 2018.
Yeah, but it's supposed to be coming out in 2019.
Yeah, but...
Oh, no, they had postponed it from 2017 to 2018.
Right, and now it's to 2019.
Well, I'm okay. I'm a little
depressed, man.
Me too, but
forward
He
to
is
this
totally
shit.
trying to convince himself. I'm okay,
But
guys. I'm okay. I swear, I'm
looking
okay.
at it. I'm looking
I'm
at
a
it as
little emotional. I'm not gonna lie.
they're setting it up to have a better ending. So I just that's what I have to look at it as.
It takes a whole year. It takes a whole year, really.
The way,
Another
hey,
year?
I'm looking at them like I look at PlayStation. The difference between PlayStation and Xbox is that PlayStation will allow their developers however much fucking time they need. Like if we have to delay it for a whole other year, we'll delay it for
Yeah, like No Man's Sky, right?
yeah.
I mean, to be fair,
Well, no, that's not one of their developers.
I'm fucking with
Yeah.
you, dude.
Yeah, but
to
like,
be fair, if any show deserved it, it would be that one.
yeah, on Xbox will say, okay, we'll let you delay it, but we need it by March. You know,
Caesar,
this is as much as you can delay.
Caesar, my life isn't complete unless I have.
I know, man. What if the world ends before then?
No, you don't understand. The habitual rape, seed, and murder pillage season that I've grown to be accustomed to. Okay.
And so I'm thinking that the Game of Thrones developers are developers, the producers are like I'm gonna say they're the PlayStation developers. So they're just gonna make it even better. I have to look at it like that. And plus now at least I don't have to worry about when I'm playing my backlog in 2018 of having to be interrupted by having to watch season 8.
Right. Well, I guess Rick and Morty. I guess Shane was just saying Rick and Morty got postponed too until 2019.
That can get fucking canceled.
Rick and Morty is hilarious.
One of the creators got in trouble in the Me Too thing.
I mean, I'm just thinking like it's time for adults to move away from cartoons.
You know what, Rambo? I don't.
You know what, Rambo? I'll make sure Shaner dicks you in the ear.
What?
What?
Y'all are the one having a damn sleepover. So, I mean, he's just becoming more and more closer and closer to, like, you'll have to let us know how he was tonight after.
We don't kiss and tell.
Oh yeah, you do. This is a game talk. But I don't know, the God of War thing, I'm ready for it. I hope to God they do a collector's edition, because I'm having that bitch up on my I'll clear off a damn console or something to put that thing on there.
That is seriously the only Sony exclusive collector's edition that I bought with the PS3 that I do not regret. Yeah. Was the God of War one.
That was a badass collector's section.
I have it. Yeah, I have it. It comes
with
that little tomb thing, the chest. And you had the game inside of it. You had all the different extra shit with it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I didn't have the money at the time.
Bro, I bought the collector's edition of Killzone, and I wanted to fucking kill Guerrilla Games. Like those motherfuckers, dude. Like those assholes. It was expensive too. It was like almost $200. It was an expensive fucking collector's edition. And all they did was they threw this shit in the box, taped it up, and that was it. I'm like, motherfucker. Like, I give you almost $200, you give me shit. Like, fuck you. Like, I haven't been back on that shit ever. Like, I'm like, nope.
They don't make collector's editions very well anymore. If you ask me.
They really. There's only a few select companies that
Blizzard's like one of the few. Blizzard
yeah, I was gonna say Blizzard. Even their non-collector's editions have cool swag in them. So yeah, they've got it down. But yeah, most of the rest of the companies they've really slacked.
I wanted that. I wish I was actually a bigger YouTuber, because whenever Overwatch came out, they sent all the big YouTubers those big ass fucking loot boxes that were filled with.
That shit was badass. Yeah.
So yeah, I would love that, because that could really trigger the fuck out of people. Because every fucking video would have a fucking loot box.
Like,
you'd have your real life loot box.
Yeah. I'd be like, if you want to know what my score on this game is, you can pay $2.99.
That's fucking funny.
Oh, terrible.
Or you know what? Yeah. Have that set up in a Patreon account somewhere, Rambo, and tell them that they have to drop $1. And then tell them that they have a 0.2% chance of unlocking your video.
Oh, actually, yeah. Well, you'll have a 0.02% of actually getting the video that you want. Like what I'll do is I'll keep sending them my old videos or a local video, something like that. But I won't send them my video ever.
Oh, so Intel.
Just keep paying.
Intel has released a complete list of all of the products affected by both Meltdown
It would
and
be
Spectre.
sockets, right? It would just be sockets, not so
No.
much a product, right?
No, they did actual processors. Core i3, 45 and 32 nanometer. Core i5, 45 and 32 nanometer. Core i7, 45 and 32. Core M, 45 and 32. Second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth generation core processors. Core X series processors for the X99. Core X series for the X299. Xeons, 34, 36, 55, 56, 65, 7500. E3 and E3 version 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, E5 version 2, 3, 4, E7 and E7 version 2, 3, and 4, the Xeon scalable family, the Xeon Phi 3200, 5200, and 7200 series, Intel Atoms C, E, A, X3, and Z, Celeron J and N, and Pentium J and Ns.
Hey, you know what's funny about all that? Their what is it? Their Atom processors weren't listed.
Yeah,
were they? I didn't hear it.
Atom C, E, A, X3, and Z series.
Oh, all right. Well, then never mind.
So is that the 4790K? Is that in that group?
All of every gen, except for the first gen. The first gen, the i3s, it's only the 45 and 30. The i3, i5, i7, and Ms, it's only the 45 and 32 nanometers. But the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth gen are it's all. They just said the whole generation.
So my 920 is perfectly fine then.
My 6700K is okay, right?
It's a core.
No, Rambo, you're fucked just like we are.
Yeah, second through eighth gen core processors. All of them in all the generations.
And what's gonna happen to it?
Up to a 30% performance reduction.
Yeah, I'm not giving it.
In certain
I might get to Twitter slower.
Huh.
When it comes to my PC, like as long as the motherfucker, that's all I give a shit about because I'm not gaming on it, so I don't really give a shit.
Gaming actually isn't all that affected, apparently. Oh, so far. So for what they've found, they haven't tested.
Well, a lot of games are CPU bound. Play PUBG.
But I think what the difference is that I don't think games use speculative execution all that much because they're usually using too much processor power for there to be enough.
If they're to patch this shit right now, Pete, our i7s right now would be the equivalency of a first generation i7?
No, I think it'd be more because it's been about a 10%. The average has been a 10% increase in performance with every generation as far as like comparable chips. So it'll probably be like it's a 3 generations older, or yeah.
Wait a minute, did you say AMD climbed?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this morning they climbed.
Wait a minute, because
now.
they ended like 1.98% down, and Intel ended 0.70% up.
Yeah, you have. That's what I already.
Yeah.
Did it.
Yeah. Okay, it's like going because like I don't think this will affect Intel as much as and AMD as much as what I think the initial news did.
But the Intel CEOs dumped stock. And that's going to be huge.
No, what I'm saying is just like what happened. I mean, like the initial notice, whatever, like it tanked, and then it like AMD shot, and then it like balanced out to where AMD went back down, and Intel went back up.
I think the long term is going to be more.
Maybe.
Because
I think he'll probably get in trouble for security fraud.
Oh, the CEOs definitely will. Yeah, that's going to be big.
I mean, because the FCC will be looking into him a bit.
I think the fact that the CEOs did that is going to poison a lot of people to Intel, because that's not just that it has happened. Because before that, they could just say, "Hey, we're really sorry, but this was kind of this." So, like I said, it's been since the '90s, so this was an unforeseen thing. And all that, but now people are going to see, and it's going to be like, yeah, you guys tried to take advantage of this shit.
Yeah, well, even if he had no fucking idea, like even if it was truly just by happen chance that this fucking happened, at the same, like, you know what I mean, like the news and all this shit, the way it looks, like you
up
can't get
until
past the
even the article, you mean? Like they didn't even know all the way up until the day it was announced.
Yeah, like what? Yeah, like what I'm saying. Yeah, like what I'm saying is like just the appearance of it is going to like people aren't going to care about what you say. Like, hey, look, we didn't know. You know, even if an article comes out right now proving that the CEO didn't know, you know, that he was just selling a stock because he was selling a stock, no big deal. Even if an article comes out proving that, it's not. I mean, that it's almost like basically like any of those trash tweets about Trump get like 40 million retweets, but then they come back and like give the actual fact, and they were wrong in that. Yeah. It gets like 2,000 retweets. Yeah. It's going to be something like that. I mean, the appearance of what happened is going to be worse than actually what happened.
And I'm pretty sure that a lot of hardcore people will severely rethink whether they're going to use Intel in the future.
No, I'll always use Intel. They could come over to my house and fuck me in my ass, and I would still use them.
Well,
oh, fucking Rambo.
Rambo is willing to try new things.
Did he not just come out the closet?
Totally did.
Not me. You, Shane. No, when it comes to AMD, like I've just had like bad luck with them has been enough to where I won't go back. Like
that's fair enough. Yeah,
I've had too much bad luck with him.
If you don't like delving into the deeper stuff, AMD can get irritating because of some of their issues.
Well, it's just so much that I've had too many issues on my end, consumer, with their product that like back in the early days, because I wasn't really a big PC guy at all ever. It was more of just finding a good PC that had a good processor for the computer usage, and everybody always told me AMD, so I always bought them. And I never had a fucking good experience. And the first Intel computer I bought just ran like a charm. Like I was like perfectly happy. And so ever since then, I just kind of like, okay, I'm just not buying.
I mean, yeah, you can look at Ryzen with the issues they're having with RAM, and that's things like that don't usually happen with Intel because they've had the money to sort out those kind of problems beforehand. Yeah. So if you were, I mean, you like consoles because it's an easier experience. You just plug it and play, and Intel is more that way than AMD. You know, even though computers on the whole are less that way than consoles, Intel is usually much better at just being able to work without any modification. But I love doing that kind of stuff, so that's why
it might get to a point where I might try AMD again, but just like as of right now, I don't see...
I know you're looking at Epic. I know you are.
I haven't even checked. I haven't even looked at any of the new shit coming. I don't care. Like as long as my PC is working, remember, I don't game on it so anymore. So like looking for the new stuff coming out and how good it is going to be and how fast and stuff. As long as my computer pulls up Twitter, I'm okay. Oh wait, and the trophy site. Those two sites are like a must-have.
We'll get you into PC gaming yet.
No, the only time you're going to get me to PC gaming is if PlayStation says we can play anywhere. If PlayStation says that, then I'll play anywhere. Other than that,
he's just going to continue taking that dick.
Yeah, like there's when I say PlayStation Master Race, I mean that is like the true definition of a master race.
Is that subjective, sir? Or
that is objective. Yeah, that is definitely objective. Name me any PC game that okay, now wait a minute. Mind you, that has that on the same hardware that was in the base PS4 on the PC, a 1.8 teraflop GPU that will run a game like Horizon Zero Dawn, Last of Us, Uncharted 4, like name and look that way. Name me once you can name me games that are actually like that, not just oh, look at Star Citizen. Like, no, I mean, like, games like
Yeah, but
those
your gaming
games.
taste is subjective, sir. That's not objective.
No, they're objective. I can tell you.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I'm subjectively telling you they're objective, damn it. Like,
I'd have to go through my
You
list
can't.
and start. Oh, yes, I could.
because you
bro.
can't
Yes,
handle the
I
truth,
could.
damn it. Wait a minute, Sandra. Okay, shit. I was like, going, what the fuck is going on here? Like,
That's his wife.
yeah, I'm just like, it's throwing me the fuck off.
Or is it?
This is Shane talking to himself. Like, we all know he's not really.
Anybody could have made that name.
Gay, guys.
We all know he's
Something
not
about
really.
Sandra
He's,
sucking dick. Sandra, you can confirm this, right? In the comments, just say yes. My husband sucks the wiener.
No, he doesn't.
I'm gonna talk to her. Sandra.
Facebook, go message her.
Spare who? Yes, the Horizon guys, they built that. I think it was based on another engine, but they did build most of that engine exclusively for that game.
We won't butt fuck your husband.
No, he's like, insane gay.
So PUBG.
Why would you even have to? Why would you have to? Oh, what's the word? Assuage her doubts about that Metro.
We never see.
Why is that even something you'd have to say?
So let me get this right. Shane, is she like the top girl? Fuck you, like, does she like have a strap on and ride you home or what?
Strap on. She's got a hidden weapon in those pants. God damn.
But no, let's move on to this. Let's see, PS4, blah blah blah. We're doing the sales we don't really care about because nobody really cares about Red Dead Redemption 2 or Kingdom Hearts 3. I mean, nobody really talks about those anymore.
Yeah. Well, Red Dead Redemption 2, I think will be. They said 2018, and people said that it's leaked for like April. I'm like, fuck, that's just stupid. Like, that's not happening. It's Rockstar, so I'm looking at either October of 2018 or wait, we're in 2018 or 2019 release. Like, I don't believe it's coming out this year.
Yeah,
really.
they have. Okay, so I'm looking at the list right now on GameSpot, and they said that they have a lineup with the releases that are supposed to be coming out this year, and Red Dead Redemption 2, Anthem, God of War, Kingdom Hearts 3, Dragon Ball FighterZ. Now, I already saw the release date for Dragon Ball FighterZ just a moment ago.
They have lofty goal.
Yeah, they do.
Kingdom Hearts 3 coming out this year.
I mean, haven't they said that like how many other times that we've heard this, Rambo? Like,
oh, it's been that thing has been rumored to be released so many fucking times that like at this point I just don't even know if it's actually a fucking game.
I think it's more of a legend than anything. I think it's just a community legend.
It's Half-Life 3. All the people that used to work for Gaben went to work for the Kingdom Hearts 3 team, and we all know they can't count to threes.
I know, right? What the hell is up with that?
I don't know. They're dumb.
I've been waiting on Half-Life 3 since like 2005.
Well, you're gonna be waiting for another.
Well, the game. The game that I've been looking forward to, at least for the PS4, is coming out this month. It says, and that's Dissidia Final Fantasy, January 30th. So the end of this month, they say it's going to be out, and I hope it is.
Not on PC though, right? It's
no,
PlayStation
just
only.
PS4 only.
Yeah. That's too bad.
You know, just an actual real gaming platform, Pete.
Now we're gonna be saying like arms.
The 7 Deadly Sins: Knights of Britannia is coming out on the PS4, January 25th. For those of you that like anime games, I would suggest you play that.
I've heard that's not the greatest anime though.
Are you what, dude? That anime is the shit. Like I love
Is
that.
it?
Yeah, dude, it is.
Wow, I heard a lot of people that hated it, but
no, it was good.
Maybe I'll give it a try.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good.
I'm buying some anime games.
Well, there
you already bought a couple, right?
I have bought a couple, yeah. But y'all tell me if y'all know them, because I don't know them. They're just visual novels, so they're easy platinums. I can just push buttons and get by them. Caller X Malice. Do y'all know that?
Nope.
Drive Girls.
Nope.
A Rose in the Twilight.
Nope.
Root Letter.
Nope.
Zero Escape, Zero Time Dilemma.
Nope.
Well, Zero Escape, I guess. Oh, well, never mind. Y'all don't know all. I'm into different anime.
That's the thing. Visual novels, there's so many.
Yeah.
You know, and not all of them become anime. So there's tons of them that, yeah, you know, there's lots of them that do, but then there's tons of them that don't.
You went away.
Shadow of Colossus
I
is getting a re-release on February 6th.
I hope they did that right.
Secret of Mana is getting a re-release for February 15th.
That was a good game.
Yeah, that's on the PlayStation Store pre-order.
Hey guys, Beta 1 and 2 for the third time is being re-released on the Switch February 16th.
All right.
Metal Gear Survive, Shane's game of all games.
I won't buy that. I won't buy another game of them.
What?
I won't buy. I will not buy another Konami game.
My game.
Metal Gear Survive.
Fair enough, I guess.
After the way they did Kojima, like I won't like that. And how they did the PlayStation community, like whenever they pulled the PT demo, and if you didn't have it downloaded anymore, you can't download. And they like, I don't know, just anything from Konami, they can kiss my ass. I don't give a shit if they make another Silent Hill game. It'll never be as good as when Kojima was.
Right.
I didn't even think about this.
Huh.
Somebody's putting out it's Epic Games putting out a thing about their servers performance after the patch for the Meltdown vulnerability, and it's bad. Oh man, this is gonna have the servers that they use for login and the games and stuff. They show the CPU utilization graph before and after the patch, and it's a huge jump in usage. So there's going to be a lot of problems with the servers that game companies have now probably not being good enough, because when it was good enough, now they're doing 30% less or whatever performance. And so it's not, they're going to have to keep adding servers and upgrading or something in order to. Well, this is Epic Games.
Oh.
Let's be fair.
That uses Intel.
They only have 20 people playing their game, so
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to affect them that much. Like, they'll be all right.
Leave it to Rambo. Just leave it to Rambo.
Yeah, wow, that's going to be big for servers. Like, I think a bunch of people are going to start switching to like I don't know if I don't think Epic itself is a server chip. They don't offer a server board for it, but there's a version of it that they're making for servers or something like that, and maybe and I think Threadripper too.
Yeah.
So that might be a lot of servers might start going to AMD hardware because they don't have that issue.
Huh.
Arrow, I pre-ordered Shadow of the Colossus because I missed it on PlayStation 2. Back then, I just was not into Japanese games at all.
Dude,
PlayStation 3.
The shit, bro.
PlayStation 3, I was barely even able to game, so I mean, I was just playing the exclusives and just only a few of them at that. And so I missed it there. So now that, like, when they said it was coming here, I made sure I pre-ordered that thing so that way it preloads on my system, and I'm like, I can't ever forget about it.
Well, you better not forget Ni no Kuni 2, man. Revenant Kingdom is coming out.
I already have that. I have Ni no Kuni 2 pre-order as well.
What about Valkyria Chronicles 4?
Huh?
Valkyria Chronicles 4 is coming out March 31st for just the PS4.
I only have the Valkyria Chronicles just now bought, like, so I have to go back. I have to go play that to see if I even like that before I.
It's like a turn-based strategy grid. Yeah, they've never been my favorite. I've never liked the tactics.
Well, we were talking about this last night, Rambo. Yakuza is coming out on March 20th.
Yakuza! Yeah, as soon as that Kiwami 2 gets on the store, it's getting pre-ordered. Like, I'm ready for Yakuza.
But if there's one particular series that I would like strongly suggest to anybody, and this goes for anybody that has an Xbox, PS4, or PC, grab up on that Devil May Cry HD collection that's coming out on March 13th. Like, that's such a good series. Like, it is ridiculous. If you like demons, you like dark, brooding storylines with a sarcastic asshole protagonist, like, this is definitely your jam.
He's definitely a sarcastic asshole.
He is hilarious, though.
Yes, he is. I love the anime. Did you ever watch the anime?
Huh?
I have the definitive edition. I haven't played it.
You have the collection, and you get all of them.
Oh.
It's HD
Brem.
remaster, so what's up?
Did you ever watch the anime of Devil May Cry?
Yes, I
Oh,
did.
it was good.
Amazing, sir.
Yeah. Mad Catz is coming back to the gaming market under new management.
I'm not
I'm
happy
good.
about that.
Hey, they made good yeah, their controllers and stuff were shitty, but they did make good arcade sticks. So maybe the new they're exhibiting new versions of the older products like the Rat gaming mouse, Strike keyboard, and Freak headset. No word on if they're going to be doing arcade sticks though or controllers.
I gave them a shot with their Triton lineup. Me and Shane did at beginning of him moving here, and I liked what I heard, but it was like this really, really good sound profile was put into a really, really shitty, poor hardware design schematic.
They hurt your ears. Like
yeah, they actually make your ears fucking sore, right? Like, I mean,
hopefully they learned from their mistakes. Obviously, they can make good peripherals because they did make sticks very well.
I think God of War was more brutal than Devil May Cry.
Sure, but it was the same style of game, though.
Yeah,
you know,
hack
it's
and
always
slash.
a whole bunch of enemies, hack and slash.
but,
Yeah.
I mean, with Kratos, you have
Except
this,
shooting and everything else.
with Kratos, you have this, I'm going to rip your fucking head off, and that's what he's going to do. And then Devil May Cry, it's just, you know, comedic banter back and forth between him, his protagonist, like the sidekick, the chick, and his mom. And then after that, his brother comes in, and that shit's hilarious. Like, those two, like, they can't fucking be in the same room together. Because his brothers embraced the devil part of his body. Like, so both him and Dante are half demon, half human. So, with...
Half demon king. Aha.
Right. So, Dante hates his devil side, where Virgil loves his devil side. He's embraced it. That's why he's, like probably one of the more skilled fighters in that entire series.
I forget what somebody classified those kind of God of War, Devil May Cry, and like Dantes Inferno. They had a phrase that described it really well, and I can't remember. Gotta try and look that up again because it was a really good descriptor of it. But Valve is revoking their support for the Filipino Dota 2 major, citing privacy concerns over player regulations.
What?
Yeah. Have rescinded the major designation of Dota 2 Tournament Galaxy Battles 2, citing recently implemented regulations for esports athletes under Filipino law. Based on the information we've received confirmed regarding new government regulations for esports players entering the Philippines, we have decided to rescind the tournament's major designation, including the Pro Circuit qualifying points for the Galaxy Battles 2018 tournament. This is based on what we feel are unreasonable infringements on the privacy of the players as a condition to enter the country. The tournament itself may still proceed, but without any involvement of Valve or the Dota Pro Circuit. I guess the recent changes to Filipino law categorize esports players as e-gamers, subject to the same licenses as athletes in traditional sports. Holy shit. The requirement for the athlete licensing include a photo ID and medical conditions such as drug tests. Man. Yeah, I could imagine being pissed off that you had to get a license in the Philippines to play a game.
Man.
Oh. All sorts of nutty shit going on.
It's like caffeinated soap, man.
Worse than that. Remember when that was the only thing? Those were the good old days. I told you, man, this shit's just gonna keep getting more and more absurd. Oh, nice. Radeon Software Adrenaline Edition 18.1.1 is the alpha is out. They fixed some DirectX 9 issues, but apparently not Overwatch.
So when does that drop?
It's out right now, but it is the alpha, so it's not like it's full release. But I'll try it anyway. See what happens. That's the thing. You never know. Sometimes unrelated fixes can end up being something that helps your problem. So
yeah. So, anything you guys want to talk about?
Yeah, stop trying to solicit more kids to my wife.
I don't know what you're talking about, sir. You have no fucking proof. She's a liar.
No more children.
Hey, you know what? I'm not saying anything, man. I'm just sitting here looking at the combo sticks on Amazon. You can't prove shit.
And Sandra, yes, you do have a Twitter. You asked me to make you one. You're Mrs. Geek Essentials.
Yeah, you're following me, actually.
I was like going, wait a minute. So she doesn't have a Twitter, and he's been tagging some random person, and like, is she real?
No, she uninstalls it from her phone all the time. She does what we all should do.
I couldn't.
Speaking of which, hey, Rambo, this week's Twitter battle, anything coming up for you? Yeah, anything?
No, just the people being like mad at Aaron Greenberg for like making like 3 or 4 tweets about the console war. But the way I always look at it, the console war has always been between the companies. Like the console war, like people people that need to be freaking out are the ones that are like the consumers doing the console war. Like there's no reason for us to do it, but the companies have always been going back and forth. Like Nintendo from Sega. So let them do what they want to do. But I mean, I did quote tweet his because he was like 6 is greater than 4, and I said exclusives are greater than resolution. But like I don't know, he like they're. I don't know why. Like in a chart came out that showed how many like the resolution of a game on the X, the resolution of a game on the Pro, and like the percentage difference. And the most on this list was like a 2.6% difference. And I'm like, I don't know why people are upset about this. Like the Xbox One X came out a year later at $100 more. It better be more powerful. And there's like I don't know, like. It just seems like, okay, big deal. Like, okay, you got 2 point. I mean, I don't know if I'd be bragging as much though with only having 2 point, like the highest one being 2.6% better. Like it's not X is going to give it to you type of thing. That like, the Xbox One X, does a little bit more.
Did you have to say it like that?
Yeah, I did.
But I mean, I don't know. Just like that's really all it's that. I mean, I don't know. I think I've gotten most of the fanboys. I think have just left me alone. I think, which is nice. It's kind of like I've been able to tweet and just tweet.
Well, you guys heard the man. Fuck with him hard on Twitter. He needs a challenge in life because he's a little depressed right now.
Well, I've been able to play more games that way because I don't have to deal with a 30-hour conversation about. But like I'm enjoying the hell out of my. Other than the fact that I think like last generation, we were having third world problems. Like we just didn't know it. We thought that these were acceptable, but I can download 600 games on my PlayStation 4, in the amount of time it takes me to download 3 games on my PlayStation 3. And we're talking the 600 games on PlayStation 4. Sometimes gigabytes. We're talking the 3 games on PlayStation 3 are no more than 8 gigabytes. Like it's fucking slow. No wonder I never really bought digital back then, and I can see why. Because you could simply pop in a game and like hit that one little update thing that pops up in the very beginning and go play. But shit, like the few digital that I did have, I do remember. I think I talked to you about it, but hitting download before you went to bed, leave your PlayStation on, leave your TV on, just turn the turn the TV off, but go to bed, wake up the next morning, and just hope that your game was downloaded.
Yeah. Which, just to be honest, is a joke.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I really don't understand though, like how we even were acceptable of that, like last generation. Like it just seems, because I know it's not because it's old generation hardware. I do very well remember this being a problem back then, but we just kind of accepted it, thought, oh, okay, this isn't bad. But now that we have the PS4 and the Xbox One to compare to, it's like, what in the hell was I thinking that this was okay?
Yeah.
And I used to joke around about the Xbox One being like slow as hell with their installs, but that's never going to be a thing out of my mouth again. Like, it's just not slow. It's like super fast, like compared to the PlayStation 3. No, it's not the internet. It's I have it. I have internet that's 380 down and 60 up, and my PlayStation 3 recognizes about 2.65 kilobytes per second down and like 0.07 kilobytes per second up. Like it's slow. I'm just waiting for my game PlayStation 3 to start going like just like the dial-up sound.
Right.
Because that's what it feels like.
So another little update on the bugs, Meltdown and Spectre. Apparently a YouTuber called Hardware Unboxed.
Oh,
he
yeah,
has,
yeah,
he's got the Windows emergency patch, and he did some benchmarks on. It doesn't say what he used with this one, but he says he did the Intel Sandy Bridge 2600K and then another one. 4K performance is noticeably down, but other than that, everything else is pretty much the same. He's going to make another video when he gets the BIOS updates for the firmware. So, and I guess what the big thing is that it adds a small amount of latency overhead for each I/O operation, probably something that does something with those kernel dumps so that they can't be read. And so gaming or stuff like that on a consumer computer don't really push the I/O channels enough to have those small latencies add up into a cumulative effect that would majorly break something. But for servers, that's going to end up, especially like cloud servers or stuff like that, with thousands of users or major databases and stuff like that, those small penalties will add up into major bottlenecks. So depending on how Intel, they're either going to have to add a bunch more Intel racks to compensate for the performance, or ditch Intel and go with Epic or something like that. We'll see.
There's already massive data places in like Washington and shit that have already done that. They've already switched.
Yeah.
Like, they upgraded from the Intel shit to Epic.
Well, I mean, yeah, if that's your business, you'd have to. I mean, you can't wait until Intel sorts it out and decreases the performance boost or does something that Yeah.
Chris, the only problem is that whenever back then, especially, like you might only have like one game, or you've already beat all the other games you have, and so you bought the game, and then you're like, the time flies when you're gaming, but if you're waiting for your game to download so that way you can game, time doesn't fly at all. like that shit. I watched the download, and it was like at 56% for 4 hours. I was like, Jesus, like just go.
Rambo.
Yeah, I believe PlayStation's always been a little slower than Xbox when it came to the download cap.
On the PlayStation 3, yeah, for sure. But the Xbox, like now in the beginning, the PlayStation 4 was like flying faster than the Xbox. And now since Xbox
5G Wi-Fi.
It does now.
Really?
Well, yours don't. Yours is the base PS4, but the PS4 Slim and the PS4 Pro both have the 5G Wi-Fi on there.
Oh, okay.
5G Wi-Fi?
Well, not 5G, but it's 5 megahertz or 5 gigahertz, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
By 5G.
I would be able to download, like, if I back in the day, and like when I first got my PS4 and Xbox One, I could put a disc into my PS4, and like say if I bought where does it say Call of Duty Ghost? Well, I could put the Call of Duty Ghost in my PS4 and my Xbox One at the exact same time. I could download the game or put the game on my PS4 and the update and be playing it for like probably actually almost finish the game before my Xbox One actually finished installing the disc. Like I was able to do 7 games on my PS4 and the time it took to do 1 game on my Xbox One. But that was because they were like the Xbox One's DRM made it to where if you stuck a disc in, instead of installing off the disc, it would download it from the store.
Yeah.
But the PlayStation 4 would install from the disc and then download the update. Like, so you would only have to wait for the update, this small little update to download. Whereas Xbox, you had to wait for the whole fucking game and update to download. So, I mean, it was like so long and so tiresome to even deal with physical on the Xbox. But that whole joke about it being that slow, it will never come out of my mouth again because like I'm telling you, it was third world problems back then. Like it's almost like we should have been eating rice and just be on Sally Struthers commercial.
There are some third world countries that have better internet than we do.
Yeah, I feel like we should have had a Sally Struthers commercial back then. Like the gamers on the PlayStation 3, like they need your help. For only a penny a day, you can increase their download speeds.
You heard the man.
Like it's bad. Like, I mean, I bought some discs from GameStop because I told them I was buying some easy platinums and then I was going to return them in the 7 days because like basically I could get the platinum free. And he was like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. And so I got home and I put like Murdered Soul Suspect into the PlayStation 3. And I was playing in seconds. I was like, oh, well, no wonder I went with mainly disc back then. Like, it's night and day.
Wait, is it Murder Soul Suspect on this generation too?
Yeah, but I've already platinumed it on this generation and 100% it on Xbox One, so I'm going to go back and platinum it on PlayStation 3 since it's a separate trophy list.
So that's a fast 100% then?
You can get it in about 5 hours.
That's not fast.
That is fast. It's a lot faster than like Persona 5.
Oh, yeah, that's 100 hours. I would hope so.
I don't know. I mean, it's an enjoyable game, so I mean, but pretty quick. I mean, I don't really even notice. Well, let me see. There's 11 like the platinum walkthrough videos. There's 11 20-minute videos. So what would that be? So 4 of those would be an hour. 8 would be 2. So about 2.5 hours actually.
Okay. So you're seriously gonna play a Barbie game?
I'm actually having Hannah Montana the movie sent to me by GameStop for $4.99. I have no shame. I have no shame in getting a platinum. I mean, it's just a platinum. And I mean, let's be honest. I mean, like with the Hannah Montana movie, I'm getting the best of both worlds.
Oh, I bet you are.
You're getting Hannah and Miley.
Let me know when
I know, right?
Let me know when you go gender neutral, so that way I can be prepared for that sort of news.
Now, Chris, I actually even had to buy an extra controller today for the PlayStation 3, and I was gonna buy a regular one, but then I was like, well, I don't really need to spend $40 on a controller I'm never going to fucking touch. So I spent $14.99 on a wired controller because Disney's Up. The movie, the movie Up, right?
Yeah.
Well, they have a video game, but you have to buy it through disc because it's not on the store anymore. And I bought it today, and I'm gonna one to return. It's like a 2-hour platinum. But it requires a second controller. So basically, all you do is turn the other controller on and just play with your one controller.
Oh, you get an achievement or trophy in this case for 2 players or whatever.
Well, I mean, you can set up the multiplayer portion with to where basically you have to get so many kills or so many like whatever. Well, you can do that by just not moving your second player, like your opponent, and you know exactly where he is. So every time like he spawns, you just run over there and kill him.
Oh, okay.
And the true trophy hunters will have like 4 extra controllers per system, because they sometimes like some games require 4 extra controllers, 4 players, and so that way they have the extra controllers to do it instead of having to like they never plan on playing with those controllers. They just have them just to do like to pop in there. I actually am going to be talking to somebody in the UK for them to actually, because to set up a UK account and a Japan account, you need an address. Like whenever you type in the form to fill out your account, you need an actual UK address or a UK or Japan address. Mm-hmm. But since I don't know how their addresses work, I'm going to have them set me up an account, just give them like an email address, a fake email address I create, just so that way I can set up a UK account. So that way whenever, like my name is Mayo, the 30-minute plat, I can get that on the European Vita, the European PS4, and I've already got it on the Vita and the PS4 and the North America, so it's 4 platinums in one game.
But will that all go to your Rambo's Corner account?
Yeah, because what will happen is like I'll set my PlayStation 4 up as like that being as my my European account's primary PlayStation 4, and then that means any accounts on my PlayStation 4 can play that game, and I'll play it on my Rambo's Corner account.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm gonna try. I'm really wanting to get my completion percentage, like because I looked at my completion percentage for 2017, and out of 82 games, I completed 100% in 69 of them, and so it's like around an 84% completion rate. So I'm looking to get that really made me want to get my overall completion percentage across every game I've ever played on PlayStation to around at least 80 to 90%.
Okay.
Interesting.
Have you heard of this guy named Hakum though?
No.
He's like the trophy leader, and he has like 20,000 platinums, and so he just not 20,000 platinums. He has like 2,000 platinums, and like he just hit 60,000 trophies on his account total. Like that man has
no life.
Like yeah, basically. But I don't know how he does like because he platinums them so quick that it makes me think that because I know like with sound shapes, if I platinum sound shapes on my PS4, as soon as I boot it up on my Vita or my PS3, I automatically pop the platinum on those games, those things, so I can get 3 platinums. Well, two of the 3 platinums like in seconds. So I'm trying to figure out if there's any other games like that to where if I platinum on PS4, PS3, if I take them over to my Vita, whatever, if the platinum automatically pops. And I know there's another one called Okami HD.
Yeah.
A guy said that like he bought the PS4 version. And he said, well, so much for that platinum. Like, as soon as he booted it up, the platinum popped. So he automatically had a second platinum buying that game.
Wow.
So I'm looking for that. And did you know that Sony requires game developers to apply for their game to be approved for a platinum trophy?
Wow.
Huh.
Like your game, like you can't just make a game and put a platinum in. But it has to go through a submission process to Sony, and they have to look over your game to see if it's worthy of a platinum.
That is a little weird. That is, I mean, I guess that's kind of cool, I guess. I mean, that just adds to QC, right?
Yeah, basically. Makes it to where people, like, well, they took a game down called 1,000 Top Rated, because the way the person made their title, and then some of the names of the trophies that it was platinum, and they got through their They got through their QC process. and they pulled the game off of the store to make the developers fix it and then resubmit it to them for.
Huh.
But yeah, I mean that's. I wish that Sony would do what Xbox did with the Xbox One, was where they said every game has to have 1,000 gamer score. I really wish that Sony would say every game has to have a platinum and not really worry about a approval process for a platinum. Because there's no reason why. I mean, it doesn't cost them money for platinum trophy, but so that way we could play every game. It has 6 trophies or 60 trophies. We could still get a platinum.
Right.
And then it also would increase sales of some easier, smaller games, because there's a lot of people that won't buy some smaller indies because they don't have a platinum trophy.
Agreed. I don't know. I think that's probably why I'm not so much into the trophy hunting thing. I mean, it really changes. I feel it really changes your outlook on games after that. You know what I mean? Like, you go from just trying to enjoy the game to like, well, if it doesn't have a platinum, I'm not gonna buy it. Like, that's one of the reasons why, like, I don't really focus on trophies. Is because like I know a part of me wants to, like, a part of me wants to just go through my games and 100% it. But unfortunately, there's only a few games that I truly love that have made me want to do that, and Forza Horizon 2 being that game for me. But if I would have went into that game with that mindset of I have to get all these trophies, then I probably wouldn't have enjoyed the game as much. And I would have probably been more numb towards it than anything, because all I was caring about was a fucking trophy.
Yeah, see, whenever I got my first platinum, it was infamous. My first platinum on this account. Like, I never really cared about trophies or anything like that before, but when I got this account, I got my first Infamous Second Son. I got my platinum, and I was like, "Oh, that's a great idea! I'm gonna platinum all my games." So I popped in my PS3, and I started. At the time, I still had one, and I started playing like all these shitty games, and just looking for the platinum. And I was going through them just fine, and then, like, every game that came out from there forward, I was always looking at the trophy list and figuring out what I wanted to do before I played the game. And it got to my point like that, to where I was not having much fun, because I was like, in the game, I was constantly, instead of just moving on with the story, I was always constantly, okay, what do I need to do in this section before I move on, so I can make sure that I get the platinum at the end. But now, like, what I do is I just play, like, any of the big games that come out, or basically anything besides a lot of the really cheapy indie games, I'll run through first and play the game, and then go back and say, okay, what trophies did I miss? And because I figured if you look at the trophies before, it takes the enjoyment out of the game, because you're really worried about the trophies.
Well, yeah, it's just, I've heard you say it before, you know what I mean? Like, I've heard you say that if it didn't have a trophy, you weren't going to buy it. And I was like, why? Like, can't you just enjoy the game? And you're like, no, man, I'm more into trophies nowadays. Like, oh, well, that sucks.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I 100%ed like 10 games, 10 or 20 games or whatever, at the end of the year last year that didn't have a platinum, just small indie games like Dear Esther and Virginia and stuff like that. And they were really enjoyable. I actually enjoyed playing through those games and the stories. But if we're talking like a game like Gem Smashers, where it's basically Bejeweled, then I'm just playing that for the trophies and getting through it, just like, an hour or two, and just moving on to the next one. Because I don't really there's really nothing big major about Gem Smashers or Barbie and her sister's Puppy Rescue that I need to worry about remembering or enjoying. I'm just trying my best to get through them real quick to get the platinum. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to it, but I mean, it's only a couple hours, so.
So then what you guys need to do is clip that part out and send it to PETA, because he does not support animals.
Well, actually, I mean, I'm actually working on a compilation of all the times that you were adamant that you were not gay, and I'm going to send it to LGBTQ people. I'm like, this man does not like gay people.
No, I said
At all.
I'm not gay. I didn't say about anything about other gay people.
The
Well,
power
we all
of
know that what
the
that
power
really
of editing.
means.
But shit, didn't you just the other day tell me like all those fucking queers could just die at a house fire? Like,
No.
But see, just see, like right there when you said I didn't say that I don't like. I can actually edit out I don't like and put it right there in front of gay.
You're a motherfucker. You know that?
I'm gonna be like, there's like 16 podcasts where he's like, I don't like gays. I don't like gays. I don't like
You guys
gays.
should have seen the Facebook shit I tagged him in.
Oh, I told him about it. The vegetables that look like dicks. Thank you, Pete.
You're welcome. They just all of a sudden started popping up in a few of my joke groups after Shane so adamantly denied being gay. With the caption, tag a mate who would, take this in the ass or something like that. It was a sign from God.
I must say, the bell pepper was pretty impressive. I never seen a bell pepper that had a dick and balls on it.
That was pretty good, huh?
Yeah.
I've seen
Chris,
squash like that in the store.
I only actually
pictures of it.
I only actually have Facebook just because my family's on. Like other than that, like I never click on that. Y'all should try that in Messenger because I talk to these clowns here in Messenger.
You post stuff on Facebook.
Well, yeah, but like dumb stuff. I mean, just dumb stuff. Do I really post stuff on Facebook?
Bro, I could always tag you in that Asian ass
No.
slapping video again. That was
No, I'm good,
Where
man.
he was like slapping an Asian dude's ass to the bell. Remember that shit?
I'm good, man.
Ding, ding, ding. I tagged Rambo and shaded that shit and my girl, and everybody on my friends list was like, "What the fuck is this?"
Hilarious.
When you tag Rambo and stuff like that, you have to give it a break, and then he forgets that you tag him and stuff like that, and
then you have to redo it, yeah. Because he tries to avoid that shit out of his memory as much as possible. So.
Oh, I do, yeah.
Because if you go back in the podcast, not too many episodes ago, he said, "Well, Shane posted something. Fuck no, I'm not clicking on that." Give it another week or two, and he'll forget about it, and then I'll find something.
Yeah, I don't think so.
My favorite meme though on Facebook my favorite meme, and I tag Shane in all of his new videos, is this really chubby, like at first when you see this dude, he looks like a gangster, right? Because he's got his glasses on. And he looks fucking serious, like he's gonna kill somebody. But then you see him get into this character, and it's fucking hilarious. He, the last one I sent was he had blue hair, and he was dancing. And my favorite one so far was the Thanksgiving one he did, where he was dancing with the butterball turkey. Oh my god, dude, that shit is so funny.
It's in very skimpy drag though. At the same time, like he'll have on a bra and like sometimes underwear you can hardly notice because it's sucked up by his ass.
Yeah, Rambo, Messenger and Facebook are two separate apps.
I know they're two separate apps, but I thought because since you have to sign into Facebook to use your Messenger, I thought you had to actually have Facebook on.
I think it'll sign you in on that app, and it won't actually make you download the Facebook app. Yeah. Oh, and before I think the Messenger was actually built into the Facebook app, but then they split it. Yeah.
And Chris, you and your brother, didn't you say your brother? Yeah. Y'all should try to platinum GTA 5. That thing is a long damn game to play.
I would bet.
No, I was really close on the PlayStation 3 with my old account before they banned me. And so once I switched my account, I just never went back to playing GTA again.
Yeah, that's because you did all that cheating.
Yeah, I did. Well, I did that one day. I mean, like, that was just sad that all my friends that I had met had been doing it for days and days, just passing out money, and I do it for a fucking day. And the next day, I can't sign into my fucking account. Like, I was like, shit. It just fucking pisses me off.
Poor
Terrible.
Yeah, my son makes fun of me for trophy hunting. He's like, "You got to get that platinum." I'm like, "Yeah." Like, what's the big deal?
Shut up! Do you want dinner tonight?
Yeah, He's like 2 trophies though away from platinuming Rainbow Six Siege.
Wow.
Really?
I'll bet that's a big platinum too.
Yeah, I mean, because
he said he has trophies with all the new DLC. Like that's pretty.
He has a few trophies to go for like in the ranked matches, but he says that he hates ranked. I guess because but he's really good at Rainbow Six Siege. I can't stand Rainbow Six. Like it's so tactical. Like you have to have a really good team.
Yeah. They've always been the tactical game. They were all about, even the single player ones, it was more about telling your squad mates where to go, what to do, and making the big plan beforehand and all that kind of stuff, as opposed to being like, a regular shooter.
Yeah.
But hey, some people like that kind of stuff.
I don't know. If I had a team, like an actual team, I would play all of us play together all the time. I'd probably play a lot of Rainbow Six Siege, but since I'm playing like mainly solo, jumping in there and I can't stand my son's friends. Like they're fucking annoying. So there ain't no way as hell I'm jumping. He asked me to play Destiny one time, and that was the last fucking time I played a multiplayer game with him and his friends. Too many fucking little kids in one little party chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tried to play. I actually tried to play a few of the ranked games on the Xbox, and for some reason, I don't know what it is, but I get griefed every time I get team killed. Every fucking game, I'm like, you know what? Fuck it, I give up. Like seriously,
that fucking ranked shit is like a bunch of tryhard. Like they're
a bunch of tryhards mixed with a bunch of fucking AIDS, dude.
Yeah, like hey.
I mean,
that's
pretty much kids
thing
these days.
Yeah. And what's crazy?
But hey, I mean, we were all like that.
All the people that are really good at those games, if you go in there and play them, like most of them are fucking like 12-year-olds. It's like, the fuck, man? Like, and then of course, then they start ridiculing you. Like, I'm fucking 12 and I'm better than you. I'm like, fuck you, little fucking shithead. Like, at least I can go have sex and you can't.
I would pay money to see Rambo get shit talk in a Call of Duty match full of teenagers and shit.
Oh, that should be like a monthly stream, watching Rambo play online games.
I fucking cuss them little fucking shits out, man. Like, they piss me.
Wait till they get their parents one time, Rambo.
Oh, I'd have a few words for their fucking parents. Like, I'd be like, let me play you back what your fucking little bitch-ass son said.
God.
I was like, you better be careful because I come over there and beat your ass too.
He's like, stop camping.
I can't even camp right. Like, I go in there to. No, I like every spot I pick isn't really, I guess, a good camping spot because every time I go to like camp, I get killed before I can even kill anybody. I'm like, fuck it, man. Like, there's just no point in playing Call of Duty multiplayer. Like, if I wait a minute, Chris, you've never ran across 12-year-olds on. I don't know how the hell you're lucky, but you are lucky.
They're all over the place.
Yeah, that seems to be all I ever. A 12-year-old brat.
They're usually the ones that are on voice chat.
You know, it's hard to find guys on voice chat anymore. Like,
really? You're looking for guys on voice chat?
You know what I mean? People in general, but yes, guys. Like, most of the time it's some girl gamer trying to get, like, in a game like Destiny or whatever, they're trying to get loot and shit from you or that kind of thing. Or it's some little tiny, like, prepubescent fucking 12-year-old that says he fucks your mom all the time. There's just no normal people left on voice chat in games.
I think most of them are, yeah, they're all just disabling voice chat in game and using other stuff.
I really fucking hate whenever you get in the game and a girl's in the. It's not because of the girl. It's because of all the fucking little 12-year-olds that are in.
Yep.
Oh my
especially
gosh,
like in
actually have a vagina.
And
ew,
GTA.
Ew, vagina. Ew.
in GTA, like there, like you could tell the girl gamer because she would be like driving down the road, and there'd be like a big circle of fucking cars around her driving, like trying to protect her. And I'm like,
Yep.
for fuck's sake, man! Like they were giving her. She's like, I'm broke, and they fucking dump money. Like I was like, what the hell? They put a bounty on each other's head, kill each other, and then give her the money. And I'm like, shit.
Oh, dude, the World of Warcraft was the worst. The worst girls would be in your party, and nobody would care because it's a girl, and they would just give her stuff all the time. Yeah, it's hilarious. Or Overwatch, you get a girl Mercy main, and fuck, dude, that's it.
Chris, you're so lucky that you actually had a cool 9-year-old. Like I don't know, man. I can't ever find cool kids to play with. Like they're. That's kind of bad.
Take that clip whenever you can. Use that clip. I can't find kids to play with.
Cool.
That's gonna be like a fucking Me Too thing.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. That's like. That's why I find all these people on the Overwatch group I'm in. They're bragging about getting people banned for quote unquote toxic behavior, and I'm just like, you idiots can't just ignore this shit.
Oh, how's Overwatch running on your PC?
I haven't tested it since
you
the
still
other
haven't
day.
played. I was like, you still haven't played Overwatch? Like,
no, I just played it. It wasn't yesterday, I don't think, but the day before maybe. It did last a lot longer. Recently, it had only got. I wouldn't even get through one game. I'd get into like 10 minutes in one round, and it would crash. I think I went through like 5 or 6 rounds the other day without it crashing, but it did finally crash. So.
Man,
but we'll see.
Suck. That's like your favorite game.
Like I said, they've been doing all that shit with banning people and stuff, and so.
See, I don't know. I like people like the PC community is like real vocal about Destiny 2 and the way they're fucking things over for them, but they always talk about how great Overwatch is, and I know it sounds weird, but I'd much rather have my game fuck me over with loot boxes and shit than to have my game ran by a fucking bunch of SJW.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Like that would just bother the hell out of me to never know what you can actually say.
Well, it really gets me. Like the biggest problems with this is one. There were already tools for dealing with these kinds of people. There are mute and block buttons, and then you will never have to hear those people ever again. And these people still demanded that there be ways to ban them, which tells me that they're not really interested in combating toxic behavior. They just want ways to ban people that piss them off. And that's the exact wrong kind of people that you want using that kind of shit. 2 is that these kinds of things always get abused. We've seen this on Facebook and Twitter and Reddit and NeoGAF and YouTube and everywhere. It doesn't matter where they are, they get abused. So 3 is they could have fixed this without any problems if they had just brought back the I don't want to play with this player again button and had it only affect matchmaking for your team. Would have solved all the problems that these people were complaining about. You would never have to deal with the person ever again, and it couldn't be abused because it would only be limiting your team's matchmaking, not who could be matched on the other team. And then NeoGAF showed this. The kinds of people that usually, I can't say always, but usually make or demand or praise these kinds of rules are usually the worst kinds of people, because the whole reason that the leader, the head, I don't know if he was the creator, but he was definitely the head guy managing it at the time. The whole reason he was able to abuse and possibly rape all those women that he did is because of the anti-harassment rules in NeoGAF, because it was a what's the your name isn't attached to your, it's anonymous. It's an anonymous forum. So there's no way for anybody in there to know who that guy is unless somebody in the forums tells everybody who he is in real life. And that's all he had to do, was have those rules, and anybody making a claim against him, he could just say, oh, you're being a harasser, and ban them. And then nobody on that forum could ever hear about the horrible things he did. And now I don't think that exactly is going to happen in Overwatch, but it's going to be the same thing. The most toxic people are going to be the ones who abuse these rules and get everybody else banned, and the game's going to turn into League of Legends. It's happened every time.
There's a good chance of it, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I keep trying to tell them, and they keep telling me, oh, that's nonsense, or blah, blah, you know, the whole list of excuses.
It always starts off with good intentions, though. Like, yeah, remember, like, some of these things, I mean, some of them, I believe there is a legitimate reasoning behind why they think that what they're doing is right? I think their heart is truly there. But once those things are in place, then that's when it starts to harvest a really dangerous mindset, a really it
rewards
bad mindset.
Yeah, it rewards the bad people, because, you know, they get to ban people, and that just keeps encouraging the people who want to get people banned.
Yeah. Well, plus it has that whole, like, mindset behind it where, like, they gotta prove that I did this, but they can't, and if they try to do anything against me, I could just say they just do a counter report and say they were harassing me.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's where the sexual harassment comes from. That's where the sexual abuse stories have come from, because they felt that they were so protected behind anti-abuse situations being governing over those games or those communities, that the shit that they were doing could go by unnoticed damn near, because nobody would think to question it. Because in that mindset, you're thinking, well, no one's going to harass us. But then you have that person that made those rules coming forward saying, yo, show me your tits. You know, like, let's fuck. Yeah. It's like, and they know that moment when they report people, that all the shit that they were for, as far as this whole, like, thing being pushed, they know that there's going to be a lot of pushback. You know, there's going to be a lot of, well, you got to prove it. You got to do this. You got to do that. Which is fine. You do got to prove that shit. I'm not saying you don't. But it'll be harder to prove because of the sort of the fostered mindset that you have going against you. So.
And as the biggest things about stuff like this, it's more like a meta type thing, is everybody assume that the people that they want these rules to apply to are playing the same game as them, and that's totally not the case. It's the best like metaphor I've come up with this is the episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation, where Data plays that game with the master guy, and it's like they attach those little cups to the ends of their fingers, and then they, like, you know, wiggle them around, and the board, like, changes colors depending on who gets what squares and stuff.
I remember that.
Yeah, and so what happens is the first time Data plays him, he couldn't beat him. The master beats him, and Data gets all sad, and, you know, there's a whole big thing about it. And at the end, somebody, I can't remember exactly how it happens, but somebody gives him the idea that, you know, there are other ways of winning. And so what Data ends up doing is he doesn't play the game to win.
Yeah,
he plays the game. Well, yeah, he plays the game for a stalemate. And he explains that, yeah, I can play for a stalemate and never lose. So theoretically, I could get the game to go forever. And that's what ends up happening, is the guy gets so frustrated that he just quits and leaves. And that's exactly what happens in these games. These people are the master. They're thinking that the other person is playing the game of Overwatch, and they're not. They're playing an entirely different game. And that's all it's going to take. And just like in that game, these people are going to get frustrated as fuck. And that's now a bannable offense.
I don't think it'll be like that much longer.
We'll see. I mean, it depends on how Jeff Kaplan, you know. The thing is he already bowed down to the demands of the people that were, you know, demanding this. And it's, I mean, obviously there are SJW elements in the game. It's not necessarily clear that they are completely bidden to those people, but there's good evidence that they are. So if those people, which of course they will, because that's the kind of people they are, they're just going to keep demanding more and more and more rules for more and more things. And like I said, it'll start with something like teabag, and they'll say it's taunting, and that's it's toxic, and it's a ludicrous argument to me and probably most people, but there'll be enough people that they can justify it. And then after that, it'll be putting down a spray, and then after that, it'll be saying a voice line after you kill somebody, and before you know it, hitting the wrong button at the wrong time will be something that can get you banned. I mean, saying GGEZ is already a bannable offense under those rules.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if anybody's technically been banned about it, but I believe there's been people who've gotten warnings for it.
I can't get over the fact that you can be banned. Like if I go in to a ranked match and I'm only good with Diva, but if somebody else has already picked Diva and they ask me to change my thing, and I'm like, I don't know how to play any other hero, that I can get banned because I won't change my character. And
again, go ahead.
Well, to me, it's like if it's that big of a deal for people that I change my character, why doesn't the other person that really wants me to change my character, why don't they just go ahead and pick one? Like, if it's that important, like, if I tell them, like, look, I'm just not good with anything other than Diva, so they're like, we're gonna definitely lose if I'm anything else. Like, why don't the other person that picked Diva, like, why don't they just go, oh, okay, well that sounds reasonable. Let me just go ahead and pick one different one myself. Like, and
again, that's the beginning, and it's going to end with if somebody has more hours with somebody than you, and you don't give the slot up to them, that'll be bannable. And then it'll be the players who don't flex the right kind of heroes will be bannable. And this shit never ends, ever. And the issues they're trying to fix can't be solved with rules. There are always problems like this in team-based games because there's no guarantee that the group that you get put with is going to mesh well with each other. But that's just an inherent difficulty of a team-based game, and there's no way that rules are going to be able to fix that.
What they need to do with this ranked mode is do what they did with League. Ranked League, you pick the position.
A slot. Yeah.
Slot, and it will give you characters that you could use for that slot. I think that would probably be the best way to go about this with Overwatch without alienating certain players that are only good with certain characters,
Oh, I mean, it's certainly the only thing that has a chance of doing anything for it.
Yeah. It's like a hero shooter / MOBA, with objectives and whatnot. The only difference is you don't have a build to worry about. You don't have to buy items or anything.
I mean, it really is more of a MOBA than it is a shooter.
How do you figure?
Because your skills as a shooter are only secondary to the actual objective of the game, which is the objective, or the payload or whatever. Everything that you do, from kills to, how well you tank or any of that, all of that is secondary to the actual objective of the game. Whereas in a shooter like Call of Duty or Battlefield or Counter-Strike, the whole point of the game is the shooting part. It's how well you or you and your team can do at shooting. Or all the things that go into shooting.
Right, okay, because I guess I can see what you're talking about then.
One of the publications, Games Radar, they decided to have a go at Boogie because last GamesRadar.com.
Oh God!
Because they saw him in a live stream last night, one of his live streams where he was playing Roblox as his character Francis, and he was like, Look at me, guys. Look at me. I'm dead. Put me in a Logan Paul video, guys. Look at me. I'm hanging from a tree, guys. Put me in a Logan Paul video. He was joking around like that. as Francis, and they wrote an article saying one of YouTube's big creators, Boogie2988, blasts Logan Paul, but then makes fun of suicide victims the next day. I'm like, he didn't fucking make fun of no suicide victim. He was making fun of Logan Paul. Like, if
anybody has half a brain, which I think I would like to assume Boogie's fan base is all pretty, intelligent. I don't think none of those people would fall for that article.
Well, I'm just hoping that I haven't seen Boogie's Twitter, but I'm hoping to God he didn't fucking apologize, because that's just.
Oh yeah.
Like that's just fucking.
He will. He will.
They're just looking. Yeah, but these damn publications are just looking. They're like at any possible way to
dude. You know how this is.
Yeah, they're to discredit any sort of YouTube personality that actually has a presence.
Yep.
It's just so. Oh yeah, he did apologize apparently, because he said, "I would like to apologize for my previous apologies for not being apologetic enough." Like I understand that he's like way too nice, but it's way too nice. Yeah, like, dude, I understand you don't want to have conflict, but stand up for your fucking self every once in a while. Like, you didn't do fucking nothing wrong.
I mean, the biggest thing is that he talks a lot about, I mean, I don't watch him, but I've heard a lot about him from a lot of people, and I guess he talks a lot about stress and stuff like that. And bro, if I was talking to him, I'd tell him, I was like, bro, the biggest reason that you're getting this kind of stress is because of this you don't want conflict thing. You are twisting yourself into knots every time there's the teeniest amount of conflict, because you don't want conflict, and all you keep doing is making yourself twist into those knots, and it's gonna kill you.
It's okay. So we always talk about mental gymnastics, right? Like, we've talked about that before. I think that's what Boogie does. He creates conflict out of a character because he's too afraid to express himself and how he really feels. So he tries to make it entertaining to others while venting out his frustrations at the same time. But then, like, when shit like this goes down and people are calling him out for it, he's like, "I'm sorry, guys. I'm really sorry. I wasn't trying to offend anybody." Like, I mean, honestly, like, I just wish he would drop that. I really do. I wish he would just say, "Fuck it. I said what I had to say. If bitches don't like it, go fuck yourself." I mean, there's not enough YouTubers right now that are here that are like that. I think, if you don't feel like you've done anything wrong, you should stand by that principle. And you should fight for that principle. You shouldn't just cave because your audience is this huge thing that's, giving you money. Like, you have a Patreon for a reason, for fuck's sakes. Your Patreon does not mean, and even your YouTube ad revenue does not mean you have to agree with your audience. Just because you're getting money from them does not mean that they outright bought your opinion and they automatically have to co-align with yours, or vice versa. It doesn't mean that at all. It just means that they're hooking you up because they really like your content, or they like you as a person, And I think he's too busy trying to be a people pleaser, and that's what's going to ruin him, And I think I don't want to see
those people always go crazy. Those people that hate conflict, and they always got to do something themselves to keep the conflict away. They always end up going crazy because you'll never avoid the conflict. No, and two, the more you do that kind of stuff, the more you attract people who like doing that to other people, and so they will keep creating conflict with you just so they can keep having more and more power over you. And yes, Chris Cobra, Boogie is getting divorced.
It's just I feel bad for the guy, because clearly, like, he has bigger issues than anything else. Because I mean, nobody has that sort of self. I want to say I think self-loathing is.
It's the wrong term, but it's close.
Yeah, but like to where
self-destructive tendencies.
Just whatever he has like no self-confidence, like at all.
No self-worth.
Yeah, like his self-worth is like at the zero, like in the negatives, because like, and like I get you don't like confrontation. A lot of people don't, but when somebody outright misrepresents you tries to throw you under the bus for not doing with misinformation or whatever, or taking shit out of context, instead of like apologizing for it, just you don't have to have a conflict with that person. You can simply just go out there and go, look, guys, the video was taken out of context. Clearly, I mean, the person has an agenda. Sorry, but I'm glad y'all support. Like whatever. You don't have to apologize for shit that was made up. Like it just doesn't make sense. And why is suicide all of a sudden not capable of being joked about?
I know, right?
Isn't like suicide jokes like the leading trend online anyways? Like, isn't it a huge thing? Like,
well, it's the most horrible stuff is always the most popular to be joked about.
Right, and don't get me wrong, it is horrible. Like, I've got family members that have done it, and it's wrecked parts of my life because of it. But I've joked around about it because it's the best way I know how to deal with it. Almost every major tragedy that I've ever had in my life, I've been able to joke about and laugh about. Because if I don't, and I dwell on it, I'm going to drive myself fucking insane, man.
Exactly. Humor is one of the best tools for dealing with horrible situation or tragedy. And just look at soldiers and stuff and the kind of gallows humor that they get into.
Dude, the shit with the Marines and the Army, there were videos uploaded on YouTube. I don't know if they're still around, if they've got to take it down or not. But they were playing the Xbox 360 in like an abandoned building. They had power to it in Iraq, and the dude had his head near a window, and they were playing Gears of War together, and they were online and shit. Dude had a sniper fire, miss his head, and went right through the window, and missed his buddy, went through the wall. They laughed about it. They actually laughed about it. They were laughing their asses off. Like, whoa, that was close. Like, dude, like, you have to laugh about these things. You can't be tied up in the grievance process. Because if you get tied up in the grievance process or the the shock and awe part, you're gonna go insane. You're just gonna go insane. That's just simple.
Yeah.
It's the character from the comedian from what's that superhero movie with the blue guy with the penis? Watchmen.
Oh yeah.
It's the comedian from The Watchmen. That's why he laughed about all the horrible things that he witnessed, because you have to. If you can't laugh about that kind of stuff, then all you do is sit there and wallow in the horror of it all.
Well, JC, I mean, even dead baby jokes. I mean,
if only people got into our Discord chats, Rambo, back in the day when we were
anything, nothing's off limits when it comes to comedy, like or laughing. When they actually say laughter is the best medicine, it really actually is.
Right. I wouldn't say there's nothing, because there are lines that I don't cross, but
I would what line would you not cross in joke? Tell me.
Pedophilia. Pedophilia is not something I really joke around about.
Well, I don't even discuss pedophilia, because
that's my point, right?
But I mean, if somebody's making it, if a comedian made a joke about I've heard pedophile jokes about the priest and the altar boys and stuff, and
Milo does them all the time. Obviously he's using that as a way to deal with it.
But I'm saying that doesn't bother me. I'm not pissed off that he told that joke. To me, there's really no limits. I mean, I have my own personal limits, what I will tell.
Yeah.
But as far as things that just should not be said, I just don't believe that in comedic form, there's any line that people need to watch out for. That's the best part about dealing with the dark part of life, is being able to joke about it, because sometimes that's the only way to get shit talked about.
Yep.
Sugar. Well, here's the thing, though. I guess for me, I guess it depends on the person, right? For it to be funny.
Yeah.
I think me and Shane, because me and Shane are sort of on the same boat as this. We don't really do pedophilia jokes, but we have heard them where they were funny. You know what I mean? I've heard Milo joking about it. I thought some of his shit was funny. I'm not saying that everybody should be able to joke around about it, because obviously only certain people, when they say shit, are funny at the times.
I think lightly scratching the surface of it is funny, but if you're going to go into detail, I don't want to hear details about that.
I don't want to hear details either. If you do the typical, the preacher, the altar boy shit, that's funny. You do But if you go into like the gruesome details that some of these people do go into, like I'm just like, I think vague joking around about dark shit's actually a lot funnier than actually going into the details about it.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, yeah. There's always.
Because you guys ever like overtold a joke to where like the details outweighed the funniness of the joke?
Oh, sure.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, but wait, Cyrus. Now, I mean, yeah, like personal attacks. That's a little bit different. But I mean, like the comedians, I've seen comedians like on stage, and they're like, "You're ugly, you're fat or whatever." I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Now the other thing you said was, where there's context around the topic at the time, and it makes the comedy extremely harmful. There's no words are harmful. Like words can't cause harm. Like that harm implies something physical, and like a word cannot hurt you physically.
And that's the thing. If words do hurt somebody, like emotionally or mentally, then obviously it's something that they haven't made peace with, and that's not because of the joke.
But that's still not physical. That's still even like that's emotional. But the joke, like if you're joking, like say, are you talking about like the World Trade Center and then making jokes like maybe a week later after the World Trade Center? Because I mean, I don't see it wrong for a comedian to even make jokes about that. Like, I mean, every time a comedian does that, they're always like, too soon, like that, like they joke around like that. But
that's what
I just don't see a problem.
It's just a little too soon.
Yeah, I mean, that to me, like when the Robin Williams jokes that were going around whenever after he killed himself, it was like basically like a few days after he killed himself, and they were joking around about it. A lot of them actually made me laugh, even though I did like Robin Williams. I mean, they still made me laugh. They were just funny jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't know. I don't see joking around about tragic events or something like that, even though even fresh on everybody's mind, being a problem, because again, it's a way to get people to take the emotion that they're feeling, the crying emotion, and turning it into a laughing emotion, and they still at least are able to get rid of that pent up emotion that's inside of them. Now, there's some people that can't handle it, but those people have other issues to deal with.
Cyrus, I think what you're describing, like when you said if you went to Sandy Hook Elementary and then started making dead kid jokes, it's a line that makes it tasteless, and it's not so much that it can't or shouldn't be done, but there are certain times and places and things like that when maybe it's not the best idea to go after something like that.
Yeah, I think if they're going to do that, they need to do it away from the actual, like they wouldn't go to Sandy Hook, New Jersey, like Sandy Hook, whatever that town is, and make Sandy Hook jokes, like right after.
Yeah, or like the thing that just happened with the dead kid. It wasn't so much that he was joking around. It was just so ludicrous the way he was doing it. He went so over the top with it and just was making stupid, silly jokes that weren't really funny and stuff like that. And that's what's difficult about humor is context plays so much into it, and even worse than that, it's not just context, but it's so many things like what your tone is and how you say it, and the same joke can be hilarious when told by one person in a certain way, but then somebody else says it and it falls flat and everybody gets pissed or something like that. So yeah, that's what makes it such a difficult thing to, it's not like you could really rate comedians. Not like on a 1 to 10 scale or something. You can just say, yeah, I really like this guy and I really like that guy, but I hate this guy.
I've always liked the more risque comedians more than the ones that like play it safe. Like the Dane Cooks and that one British guy. I forgot what his name is.
The older one, right?
No, he's young. And he has black hair, real skinny, and like he's funny as fuck. I just find those things a lot more funny because like they tell jokes that normally people wouldn't say, or maybe like wouldn't dare tell in a group of people, but they tell them and you're able just to laugh about it, and it's not like, to me, like it doesn't really cause any problems because you're like it's in a comedic way. The way they do it is in a different way. Now, if there's a difference between going to, like, say, Sandy Hook and being a dick about and trying to joke about the dead kids, and being making a joke referencing Sandy Hook as a joke. Like it
crosses into tasteless, and
I think that
retracts the whole value of the humor.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, like the whole jokes about racism, the jokes about sexism, the jokes about all that, like those are a way to get people to maybe deal with some issues that they're dealing with by looking at them in a different way, or like laughing about them. But it also allows people to release a lot of shit that they have built up inside of them. Like, I don't know, whenever, like, I truly believe that laughter is the best medicine, because, I mean, if you have something bad going on, like when my daughter decided to walk with my neighbor, the neighbor kid, she just walked out of our backyard and walked, and she was missing for about 5 hours. Well, we were frantic the whole damn time, like walking through the neighborhood and everything, calling the police, but she ended up like 5 miles down the road, and luckily one of the people that were coming over to help us noticed them as she was getting off the highway. They were sitting on the corner of the exit and picked her up, and we'll call the police because the police wouldn't let her. Take them back home. But it was a way. Whenever that was over with, we immediately started joking about it. It was almost kind of like a way of all of us to release all the scared shit, the tension and I don't know. It was a way to just kind of release. And George Carlin was always one of my favorite. Like,
oh yeah. Man, to bring him back, to get him to comment on some of the things going on today, that would just be incredible.
Yeah, and go get the funniest people are usually the most depressed, and they're using that comedy as a way to deal with their depression.
Yep.
I have to go look it back and see what Dave Chappelle's.
I've always liked Dave Chappelle. He's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, that when he goes off on the women who dress like hoes, but then get pissed when you treat them like hoes. It's like, man, it's like if I was wearing a policeman's uniform and somebody came up to me and started telling me about something that happened, and I was just like, hey, just because I'm dressed this way does not make me a police officer. I was dying.
What y'all are talking about there, I don't think that Israel and Saudi Arabia used us, where we went in there to invade Iraq and stuff. I think that the reason why we did that is because first we wanted the oil in Iraq, and the reason why we were in Afghanistan is because we wanted to control the opium. Because all the opioids that the world uses, 80% of it comes from Afghanistan. And so if we control those fields, then we can actually help control China and everybody else.
I mean, there's almost always a secondary or underlying reason when it comes to stuff like this. And you